better take a picture of this before it heads out the door. We've got about a half an hour before it's going to be on the road. This is a 12 by 12 cutoff jig. One end is fixed where there's no adjustment to it. These patterns here will pin on. I don't have the dowels all the way out, but they'll come out further. You can see where they're stuck inside. They'll push out a little bit into the templates here. This particular one is I believe 34 degrees, and this was a 40, I'm sorry, that's 34 degree. It's a 41 degree. You see they'll pin right on the sides there. I'll take a picture of that in a minute when installed. The other end is an adjustable end, and it'll adjust 45 degrees in either direction, or a 90 for just 90-degree cuts. There's several ways to set the angle up. You can use a framing square off the inside edge and down the face of the cutoff, or you can use a Wixie angle gauge, just zeroing out on your jig, and then transferring that to your end piece, and it's pretty accurate. That's basically it. The inside dimensions are 12.5 inch by 12.5 inch. One side has an alignment screw that is fixed so that both those screws protrude inside the jig. This is just in here to weight this down so it doesn't fall off my sawhorse. But the length here would depend on what the width of the material is going to be. But this pin and the pin up in front are set up with a little gauge so that the workpiece is pretty much centered in the jig. And the other side is just strictly for clamping. In this case, the rafters, in this case, will go flat against this side of the jig, and actually the long points will be cut down the slope of this set of patterns. Let me put one of these on here and you can see what it looks like overall. We went ahead and put, just temporarily, just put one of these cut off jigs and fixture type templates in place, and you see that the chainsaw now will just cut right down through that workpiece on this fixed angle. The angle was so sharp it's kind of prohibitive to build an adjustable jig that would handle an infinite variety, because you can see it begins to get really long on what I call the picture frame. So that's what a fixed template would look like on the end of a jig. All three of these would be tightened up once the angle's been determined. Clamping screws. The chainsaw attachment, the EDM tracer. Basically a set of plates. Fastened to the chainsaw bar. The wrench, of course, is going to be removed for use. Pretty simple. Most of my jigs have a replaceable surface on here. These ends are, for all practical purposes, they're throwaways. This is a pretty quick solution for trying to get a real clean cut on a long workpiece. These are actually going to be used to cut some 12 by 12s. And I looked at the blueprint, they were 40 feet long. I don't know if they'll be in full length or not, but you just don't go down to the corner store and buy those. So anyway, there is a jig for cutting some pretty long angles or adjustable angles, and those two fixed pieces and the adjustable on the other end will cut a complete truss. And I might add in different size materials. I think this particular truss may have some 12 by 12s and I believe 6 by 12s. And they can all be cut in that same jig. A lot of this I try to stock. This particular jig, I don't recall when it was built several years ago. I build these jigs also with the cut off on both ends and also fixed on both ends, so that you can have patterns, in some cases even rounded patterns that would saddle around logs coming through, say, a post. I have done compound jigs where there's also another swivel feature where this is adjusted, and then this plate here will actually swivel to give you a compound cut. Pretty big jig, but if you're looking for accuracy on the first cut and thereafter, the jig will give it to you. There you have it. That's a model 12 by 12. Fixed end, adjustable end, decorative end jig is what I call them.